News Weekly.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly. This is episode 181 in year 4, and we are recording a day early. So we have currently people pouring in questions right now in the Discord because I asked right before we were recording this podcast. But we're going to start this podcast talking about what we said we were going to talk about last week, but we ended up recording before it. And that is the Suicide Squad game, because they had dropped about 10 to 15 minutes worth of gameplay.
Yeah, about
PlayStation.
5 to 15 minutes. It was mostly just like, of course, the team making comments and then showing small clips in between those comments of everything. But
yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't say I've been on the internet enough to see the perception of it. I just know what we were talking about in Discord, but I didn't really see anybody talking about it on Twitter, to be honest.
So the same comments that we were talking about in the Discord is what everybody else is saying.
Yeah.
This is not being well received at all,
Yeah.
which is wild. You do have those fans that will get a superhero game no matter what because it's superheroes. You will have people who support DC no matter what because it's DC. Those people are, pumped for the game. People have said it looks fun, but the majority of the people that have commented on this game have said, and I've seen this a lot, you made the comment, very Fortnite.
Yeah. So there's going to be a battle pass. There's going to be you can do cosmetics and stuff. And and the way the play style of flying around and shooting and just destroying a bunch of stuff feels very Fortnite. But to be honest, I don't know what I would have been expecting in a multiplayer game when we're going from single player to multiplayer.
Yeah, and it is very, very disheartening to know that something as awesome as the Arkham series of games, the sequel series, is this multiplayer Suicide Fortnite game.
Yeah.
That it just hurts because you had so many people just praise that as the video game for superhero fans is the Arkham games. That's the number one go-to. And I feel like it grew so much from what we got in Arkham Asylum and the stiffness of Arkham Asylum, but still awesome as Arkham Asylum. And then go all the way to what we had in Arkham Knight. I feel like that was huge growth. And I was like, okay, the only way to go is up. Apparently not.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. I will wait for the reviews. It's what I did with Gotham Knights. I just can't believe that they are releasing two games that are very similar so close together. I don't know why they didn't talk that out. I understand there's two different gaming studios, but that's the same idea. How do you greenlight both of those ideas just because there's different characters? It blew my mind.
Which two are you talking about? There's Suicide Squad and
Gotham Knights.
Oh, and Gotham Knights.
They're coming out in a year with less than a year apart. Why would you release both?
Yeah, I guess it really is kind of the same because from what we have heard here through the behind the scenes it was the state of play for the Suicide Squad. The only map is Metropolis. You don't go anywhere else. And people are like, oh, well, it's a big enough map. It's like, okay, but you're exactly the opposite of what Gotham Knights was. It was just in Gotham. Now you're just in Metropolis. And I just can't get over, like you had said, the type of jumping and flying around.
Yeah.
It is almost as if they just took the engine from Fortnite and just put a reskin on the characters. That's what makes it feel even weirder. The fact that the same almost visual aspect to the jumping is almost identical. I watched the Suicide Squad video and a video of the characters jumping and flying around in Fortnite side by side, literally almost identical.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though. I think this is going to be one of those cases where we're also, we're getting old, and like, Arkham was coming out when we were young.
Yeah.
So like we got to grow up with the series, but now it's all like, well, all these old timers probably don't have time to spend in these video games like we used to, and we need to play multiplayer because like that's the big thing. What's hot right now is Fortnite. If you want to go through video game history, movie history, TV history, once something's hot, you get a lot of copycats, and everybody tries to adapt it to their kind of thing. Look at what's happening right now. What's the big thing in movies? Multiverses. Lord of the Rings wants to build their own Star Wars right now. And why did Star Wars start building it? Because of Marvel, DC is trying to do it too. And how many have failed already? We had that monster universe that got one movie with Tom Cruise and it fucking failed immediately. And like, that's the big thing. And you, as much as you might hate Fortnite, you cannot deny its success.
Yeah.
And it is one of the hottest games in the last, I would hate to say decade, but probably true.
Almost decade, because I think I'm gonna go ahead and say that I was one of those guys, the hipsters, that bought Fortnite. Or no, I didn't even buy it. I got invited to this thing where I got it digitally, where it had the main game, which was a Castle Defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing that before I ever played the Battle Royale. And so that was back in 2015. That's just 2 years. It's been almost 10 years.
I told everybody to download that game before it was even popular. I was like, dude, this is going to be the new, because I was really big into PUBG and my audience loved watching me play PUBG. Yeah. And I was like, dude, now there's a new one that we can all play. And then it's going to be free. And like, I kick myself every time, because had I stuck with Fortnite and I actually played Fortnite and kept Fortnite, I could have probably been somebody with the amount of like way I pop out videos and shit. And I'm just like, damn it. But I didn't like the game. I hated the building. The building fucking sucks. But they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, they have the non-build mode on it.
Yeah, which is fun, but I mean, I still don't care. I'd rather play Apex or, PUBG or whatever. But you can't argue that Fortnite is a popular game, so other games want a piece of that pie. And it's just unfortunate somebody that is so prestigious as Rocksteady would fall in line. Like, when you have the clout, you don't need to copy. You can just do whatever the hell you want. And maybe they think like, hey, we're still giving a really good story, because, hey, this could be a really amazing story, right? Like, we don't know that.
I mean, it could. Yeah.
And so maybe they're like, we're going to do the story stuff, and then we'll add some new fun gameplay elements. And maybe they had to do different because they want to separate themselves. And this could just be one of those things where they tried it, and we'll see if it's a fail or not. Yeah. I think as long as it's better than Gotham Knights review-wise, I'd be down. Now, granted, everybody's like, Juice, I thought you don't care about reviews. When it comes to gaming stuff, I think I put a little bit more stock into gaming stuff, because when you read a gaming review, they talk about mechanics, flow of the game, story, gameplay, like glitches, all that kind of stuff. It's not like going to see a movie. Like, if you go, everybody can have a different take. 10 people can go in to watch a movie and all come out with a different opinion.
And here's the big difference. If I were to go see a movie on my own, I'm spending maximum, without anything to eat or drink, maximum maybe $15 to $16.
Yeah, if you're going during peak hours,
yeah, depending on the seating and everything else, right? Video game, you're spending, especially with next gen consoles, with me and my PS5, that's $75 to $80.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to need to look at reviews if I'm hesitant for it. And if it is something that is not a completed game with how many glitches and bugs and all of these other things that you just named off, like, it's not going to turn much people on to be like, hey, I need to go spend almost $100 on this broken game.
Yeah. Now, granted, I will say, I still do think, play things for yourself, but I think video games are something you can wait on. Yeah. I'm waiting for PlayStation to give me Gotham Knights for free, like, because it's gonna eventually be on that list, I think.
It's already been on several sales, I've noticed, and it's already gotten as low as $20.
Yeah.
So
I usually
it's eventually.
I pay for that PlayStation Plus thing, which I never fucking use, but I pay for it anyways because I buy the yearly subscription. It's like $20 more, and you get extra games. I'm waiting for that to show up. If it shows up on there, then I'll give it a try or something. But for the most part, yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good. Like that's all I say. Like I can get by the Fortnite stuff. If the reviews come out and they're like, "Oh, this is an 80 out of 100 game," I'll play it. Like that's cool. 80 is good. It's a B. I'll take that. Gotham Knights was like, I saw some low ass scores like 40, 50. And I'm just like, damn, it's not even average. Like, holy crap. So my biggest worry would not be the gameplay, it would be the repetitiveness. Because I hate repetitive games. It's what I got so bored with Destiny for a long time. The only reason I played Destiny for so long was because I played with friends at work. And every Tuesday there would be a new raid or whatever, and we'd go out and we'd do the raid after work. We'd stay up till like 2 a.m. doing raids, getting new shit so we can get better equipment or whatever. And after a while, I was like, this game's fucking repetitive. Like we fucking Genshin Impact's the same way. I love Genshin Impact,
and that's the very unfortunate thing with this like new type of gaming, because the developers, they just have to make one scenario and push repeat. That's all they have to do. And you know, every so once in a while they'll develop maybe a new skin or a new weapon or a piece of armor, and then they just put it into the freaking program to generate whether you get it or not. And like I understand like how easy it is for developers, but you got to understand that your audience is smarter than this. They're eventually going to get freaking tired of games like this and just stop playing them. You know, they just recently I saw that Elden Ring is finally coming out with DLC, and it's almost like they're going to be making an entirely new game. And that
Horizon's doing a DLC as well on top of a VR game.
And the way that I was listening to the Last of Us official podcast with the creators of The Last of Us, and he was talking about the DLC for The Last of Us and how it is essentially, you know, making another game. And that's what I kind of miss, dude, is like actually getting like full on story missions and like something new compared to, like you said, the repetitiveness of like, hey, hopefully I can get this new gun skin.
I think it's, you know, going through COVID and everything, I think multiplayer games is something a lot of people lived off of. I mean, it's part of your routine, right? Like, so the repetitive games don't matter. You go home, you know, you get off work after 10 hours, you go home, you grab a bite to eat, you sit down in your computer chair and you play some games for a couple of things, and then you go to bed, you know, and you repeat the cycle. That is a lot of people's lives. That was my life for a really long time. And I love a good story game, but I also love just getting in a group chat and shooting the shit with friends, you know? And you can't really do that playing a story game because you're going to miss the story. Like, me and Clay played like Assassin's Creed Odyssey together, but we were two different parts of the map. So like, it didn't even fucking matter. And we are just like killing people or leveling up our character. But for the most part, you can't do that. Like, I'm not going to want to play like Elden Ring or something and be in a party chat. Be like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to listen to this. Granted, I think Elden Ring doesn't do voices. I could be wrong.
No, it does not. It's a lot of reading.
That's the one thing that turns me off to the game. I'm serious. Like, if you're gonna make that massive amount of game and can't give me voice acting, I understand you don't do it for all the NPCs, but the main characters, like, come on now. I play enough visual novels, you know? All right, the spicy stuff don't give me voices. I'm just like, come on, I gotta read everything. I don't want to play a AAA game, you know? Granted, I will say shout out to Sega and stuff when I couldn't read when I was younger playing video games. That's what taught me how to read, because there wasn't voice acting back then. It was all 8-bit noises and shit. So I learned to read because of video games, but I'm older now. I don't want to fucking read that much, okay? If I want to read, I read comics. I read all that kind of shit. I don't need it in my video games.
Exactly.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm hopeful. I will wait for the reviews, and we'll find out in probably about 2 months because it comes out in May. So we'll probably find out like mid-April, probably. So, yeah, but it didn't look as bad as I think it could have been. Because like right now, my bar is Gotham Knights. Like, I think it looks better than that. The story looks more appealing, you know?
I will say visually, it looks better than Gotham Knights. As far as the graphics go. The mechanics, though, that's gonna be the big thing for me. is and they talked about how there's like different things that intricate, like they add, like one highlight was like you can have Bane's like venom inside of like basically a grenade, and you throw it at enemies and it like basically like psychs them out or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool. Like those little things are like, oh, little Easter egg. You're not gonna
Yeah.
get Bane in the game, but you can get his venom. Like you're adding things in the universe.
The cosmetics looked amazing though. Like you could be like King Shark with a Superman suit on.
out.
Like
Yeah.
that looks cool.
Some of
I was
those
like,
looked really, really cool. And the
Harley
thing
with
is,
Wonder Woman's outfit, like that was cool.
yeah, I like that as well. There was apparently a brand new character that they created, that DC created, like just here in like the Rebirth area era. Hack is gonna be in the game as well. That was another highlight.
Oh yeah.
In the state of play as well. So there are cool things, and there's I think it's funny. Somebody pointed out that like in a majority of these multiplayer shooter games, there's always like a giant robotic spider-like creature. And Suicide Squad has one as well. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. I mean, every world-ending thing has a portal that opens up shit, right? Avengers, Suicide Squad, Ninja Turtles. Like, I've seen a video that put like all of them together, and I'm like, God damn, that's insane. You think people would get a little bit more creative, but it is what it is. But anyways, let's move on from gaming talk. And Clay, I need your people are talking again about DC and Netflix, man. What's going on over here? What is this rumor?
Don't say my people, because
they used to be your people. Okay,
They're definitely
he's
not
what
my
is
people.
what do they call those people when they like leave Scientology? That's what Clay is now. He's gotten away from it, and now he speaks out against it. But yeah, so what is this rumor? I had somebody come into my stream yesterday and be like, "Hey, so what are your thoughts on DC selling stuff to Netflix?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
So you need to understand, and listeners need to understand that Zaslav is the type of person that is in the old ways of cable. He's like, okay, if we sell our shows that are pitched to us, that we nab, that we cast and everything else, if we sell these shows to other streaming services, to other companies, we will get the revenue from the sale, and we'll still get a residual from when it airs. So he's trying to make as much money as possible with less work, basically. And so that's why you have Sandman on Netflix. That's why you have freaking Lucifer, who was on Fox. That was a WB property.
Yeah.
Eventually went to Netflix. Still a WB property.
Is that show still on?
No, Lucifer ended, I believe, either last year or the year before that.
Yeah, it had the girl from George Lopez, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. The one that took over for the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was cool.
But then you have what is now being sold to Netflix, being Dead Boy Detectives. It was a backdoor pilot on Doom Patrol season 3, but they have an entirely new cast for the show. And when, of course, a certain particular part of the internet heard about DC selling this show to Netflix, they just had I don't know what kind of revelation that they had, but they assumed, oh, this means Netflix gets to pick and choose whatever they want over at WB. I don't understand how they connect these dots. It is absolutely wild. So the idea of WB selling things to Netflix is just the fact that they're selling one particular show to Netflix.
Yeah.
That is it. Netflix doesn't get to say, hey, all DC properties need to come to Netflix now just because we're buying this show. That's not how it works. But of course, all the Zack Snyder Justice League guys are saying, oh, our campaign finally worked. Like all of our freaking videos with stolen faces, they finally worked.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I saw another one of those. I think it was Jared Leto's Joker, I think was the one that I saw. Yeah, there was a Jared Leto Joker, and it was like you know, guys, I really hate Batman, but I love Zack Snyder and I love blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is cringe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just like it's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. At this point, like I'm gonna
It's a
steal the
pipe dream.
words. I'm gonna steal the words right out of Juice's mouth. It's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
And I think he's okay with it. And and going off of that, one thing that we brought up in Discord a couple weeks ago
Mhm.
was the fact that James Gunn mentioned Snyder and it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I talked to him already. Like he basically gave me the okay, like not really the okay, but just
Yeah.
saying like, oh, he agrees with all the choices I'm making. You know, he seems pretty happy where he is. He's not going to go anywhere at Netflix. That he's enjoying and loving all that. And people were like, oh, what's your source on that?
Mhm. Yeah.
People were saying to James Gunn, hey, what is your source that Snyder is okay with staying at Netflix?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Snyder.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, he talked to him.
Yeah, the Snyder cultists are the scene from Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?" that's the scene. And then when when fucking Snyder or Gunn comes out and says there's no like bad, they're like, "Oh, what was all that 1 in a million talk?" You know, it's insane, man. It blows my mind. What's going to be interesting, and I think this is only going to make it worse. What if Netflix goes under in the next few years? Because they're making some really bad decisions, apparently. They're no longer the number one streaming service, if I'm correct on that, because a lot of people are getting really pissed with everything that they're doing with the password sharing or the inevitable password sharing. They're making a lot of bad shows. Like, dude, Netflix used to be the place for amazing shows. And now it seems like they're greenlighting a bunch of crap. They don't even know what they're doing anymore. Kind of doing what HBO Max is doing right now. Just kind of unloading stuff, doing whatever. And they lost all their big shows, right? Like it used to be the place where you go to get Friends, to get The Office, to get like everything. They had everything. And now they don't got shit. Like so
and the very like weird thing, again, kind of like how Suicide Squad is just following trends. Netflix is following the trend of, oh, we need more reality TV in our streaming services. So like you have the dating stuff, you have like now there's like house building shows or house selling shows on Netflix as well. I think they just greenlit like maybe one or two more over at Netflix. But the big thing is I think one of the CEOs or I can't remember exactly his title over at Netflix has said, we have never canceled a successful show.
Yeah.
And I think that's, in a weird way, he's right, but in a weird way, he's wrong. Because there has been plenty of like huge campaigns for shows that originated on Netflix that like have just been canceled, and there has been huge waves of people supporting, hey, this was a good show, like why is it being canceled, what's going on? I think the most recent one was Warrior Nun. I never saw it, but the people that I have talked to that have seen it said it was a really good show.
I mean, has anyone ever canceled a successful show?
I don't think so.
I don't think you cancel stuff that's successful. So that's a weird statement. You know, I don't understand that. Like Game of Thrones didn't get canceled, you know. Breaking Bad didn't get canceled. The Walking Dead maybe, but I mean that had 11 seasons. So like
yeah, I would say that just ended. Like it.
Yeah, and they're still doing movies. So like, or they're turning them into series or whatever. It was gonna be movies. But anyways, yeah, Netflix, let's just say Netflix goes under in the next 5 to 10 years. That's still gonna be in the time frame of the DCU stuff. The Snyder cultists wouldn't go anywhere. They'd be like, he's free to come back to DC, y'all. He doesn't got the Netflix contract anymore. Bring him back.
Well, like the unfortunate thing now is though, like Gunn keeps teasing the fact that Ben Affleck is still interested in like directing a project, and so they're like, we have our in, We still have our in.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is right there. He's gonna sneak Snyder in, and he's gonna really direct when Ben Affleck is really gonna act. Like that's really what's gonna happen, guys. It's like,
and he could still be
damn.
Batman. Look at what they did with Keaton. Keaton's like 80, 100 years old. Of course, they could bring back freaking Ben Affleck. He's 20 years younger. Yeah, it's never gonna stop. It's wild stuff. But I don't know, man. That is some crazy shit going on there. But speaking of James Gunn and the DCU, he kind of teased Steve Agee being a part of a project pretty soon. Which, for those of you that don't know, this is the actor that is the goofy big guy in Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad movie, and he's the body double for King Shark. So,
yeah, so it was, I believe, almost a week ago, actually, looking back at it. Well, actually, no. It was this past Sunday. He said, "Happy birthday to my great friend and collaborator in Peak Economos." And he said, in parentheses, "who you'll see sooner than you think." He says, "Steve Agee, love you, buddy." So that is interesting. We were just talking right before we started recording, and you stated that, of course, Waller, which is, of course, going to be within the new DCU, is in fact going to be filming before Peacemaker season 2.
yeah.
And for some reason, in my mind, sooner than you think might even, in my mind, I'm thinking before Waller.
Creature Commandos? Casting's done, apparently, or almost done, according to Gunn.
True. I think that could be it. Now, the only thing that makes me a little hesitant on Creature Commandos is it has been confirmed that Rick Flag Sr. is going to be in that. And I don't know if it's like current Rick Flag Sr. or Rick Flag Sr. in the past. And Creature Commando will be a non-modern TV show. It'll be set in the past.
Interesting. Do you think the Flash brings back Rick Flag? Or do you think James Gunn leaves him dead?
Ooh.
Because do you think that would alter everything that happens in Peacemaker?
It would and it wouldn't, because depending on how things work, I mean, let's face it, the way things work in the DC universe is wonky as shit. So like, you can bring somebody back even with the like still everything had happened.
Yeah.
So he just currently comes back in the current timeline as is, and you can be like, how the fuck are you still alive? And you're like, I don't know. And then we all assume, oh, it must have been Flashpoint.
Yeah, I guess they could do something like that. It'll be interesting to see, but I mean, Creature Commandos, I would assume, would be the first thing that's going to come out. I would assume it comes out before Superman, because they're probably like animating it now, or going to start animating it soon if it's not.
I mean, they already did have what was it? Scripts and concept art. So I'm sure the animation has probably already started. And one thing is, I really hope that this is a project that is like 2D animation. Because Gunn did say a couple months ago that his DCU will have CGI and 2D animation.
Yeah. Be very interesting. He did also tweet out The Authority on February 24th. Just hashtag The Authority with the photo of them.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be that full squad?
I think it will be. Everybody's freaking out over the girl in the center of the photo. I have not read all of The Authority. I've only read issues that have tied into certain series. So I don't know the full story of The Authority, and like I only know some of the popular characters.
Yeah.
So this woman in the center, I'm not entirely sure what her significance is, but people are freaking out about her. So
yeah, in a positive way or a negative way?
Like oh my god, we're gonna see her in live action type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have gotten the book, but I have not been able to read it yet. So I wanna oh shit. I don't know if you guys heard that, but my mic just fucking fell. So
Nice.
oh crap. So if that was loud, I apologize. But yeah, anyways, freaking I have not seen I actually broke my mic. It's completely broken. Wow. Wow, look at that. I don't know if you can see it, it's hanging off. Well, you can't see it at all, but my mic stand just shattered. So that fucking blows. Anyways, exciting things. You never know what's gonna happen on this podcast. My mic might fall again. It's literally hanging from half, which is crazy. I might switch it up here in a little bit. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what we're gonna get. I feel like James Gunn's been kind of quiet recently, though. I feel like we haven't had as many talking points.
He has been a little bit quiet, but I think that is a good thing. I think he is very busy
Yeah.
in that sense. I think he is, of course, like he said, casting is almost done with The Authority. I think there was also like somebody on Instagram teased something that he possibly got a part in The Authority.
Mhm.
There was like, did you see all the news with Jack Black?
Being
Like,
Superman.
yeah.
Yeah. James
Like
Gunn
that
liked
was
one of the
that
tweets or something.
that was all funny. They actually made like a whole like promo video with Jack Black in a Superman costume. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I think there has been like one or two actors that have actually teased that they might be getting a role in DC, and currently we know that The Authority and Creature Commandos are things that are being worked on currently.
Mhm.
So we'll see. When
Yeah,
do
I'm
you think?
curious.
Real quick. When do you think we'll get like first official news of like actual casting? Like, do you think it'll be Comic-Con still?
Maybe. I think DC has something to where maybe they show the first trailer or teaser for Creature Commandos and maybe Blue Beetle, and maybe they have a big thing where like this is the cast of Authorities. Because usually what happens with Comic Con is they'll just put out like a block and like this hour is for DC content, and then you go to Hall H and it's just like oh my god, it's crazy. So yeah, that's what I would expect is going to happen. But we'll see. I think James Gunn wants to make a splash at Comic Con. I would think he would want to, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of the DCU Elseworlds, though, it is we weren't speaking about that, but let's just talk about Elseworlds. Colin Farrell apparently has been seen as Penguin or is seen in New York getting ready to shoot for this. Correct?
Yes, he arrived in New York yesterday as the time we were recording this, 2 days before as the time people are hearing this. He has entered New York and they are going to be starting filming. He said that he has done several weeks of testing for makeup, and he said that they even improved upon what they had in the movie, which is insane to think about because that was already a really good makeup job.
I just hope he's not drastically like or noticeably different. Like the way how Kylo Ren's scar changed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want him to look different. Like, why that looks weird. How does he? You know, why does he look so different? I'm curious to just see what that movie's gonna be. Again, I said this on a podcast a couple while ago when we found out that this was gonna be Elseworlds. I'm a little bit more optimistic about watching that universe now because I know it's not gonna be the universe I care about. Now I'm just like, oh, let's see. Hopefully it's good. You know, hopefully it changes my mind. But now that I know we're going to get another Batman and a Bat Family, and I don't have to watch everything that's going to be in that, I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, one thing we kind of skipped over this. I should have done this before we jumped to Elseworld. Shazam. A lot of stuff going on with Shazam right now. Rumored poor box office predictions. We got the director talking, and we got Zachary Levi needing to shut the fuck up. Because somebody needs to take his phone away or his social media away and be like, you need to not post anything until this movie comes out because I don't know why are you doing this? You're sabotaging. Like, I feel like if I was in Hollywood, I would be making clauses to be like, you cannot sabotage the movie for X amount of months prior. you know? Because Zachary Levi right now, we had the conversation of him sending out some stuff that gave off the vibes that he's anti-vax. He tried to say it was about some big pharma, buyout or whatever, when that happened like 12 years ago. And then recently he posted something about Britney Spears and conservatorships on his Instagram, and it seemed like he was favoring conservatorships. I'm saying that word wrong, conservatorships. And just what are you doing, Zachary? Like,
it's weird, and I think he knows he's out. I think he knows for sure that he's out because he made even more comments. I think yesterday,
really?
a new quote has come out from him. He is like he's still singing the same song and dance, but in a different light. Now he says, "I feel good that there's a future for Shazam, even if they have to recast the role and it's another actor. The character is great. The character needs to keep going." So this is completely different from what he was talking about before. He was like, "Oh yeah, me and Shazam, we're good. We're good. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going." All this other stuff happens, and he did an Instagram live saying, "Oh, I think we're good. Or I think we're good. But even if we're not, like I think I'm pretty safe. I'm okay." And now it's, "Oh, I think Shazam is safe, even if they have to recast me. I think Shazam is safe." So I think he knows he's out.
Do you think they recast the whole squad or just him
I think they have to recast the whole squad
to make them younger kids?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want her to recast Mary Marvel. Like, she's
She
the only
is
one I
so
want to stick
good.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see them though just recasting him because you can make a joke about it, and it's already a jokey type of movie. You can just be like, "Why'd you change your face?" And be like, "Well, I want her to be different."
I'm a god.
Yeah. I saw this guy in a magazine or some shit like that,
Well, like so there is two different ways that Shazam has been written before.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the first way that Shazam was written, the character Shazam was a completely different identity from Billy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got revamped, it is just an older, stronger, wiser, the acronym of Shazam of Billy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could technically, even though it's weird, you can get Asher Angel to be Shazam, which I don't necessarily think would be great.
He would have to bulk up so much.
Yeah.
To be believable. But then what would you do? He'd be older and then he would just like turn the powers off and on?
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know if you could really do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see Mary Marvel get recast, but that would suck. I mean, I guess they would do it again. But again, you only have them for a limited amount of time. Do you really want to do that again?
Yeah.
I think maybe just recast Shazam. Because you're going to recast Black Adam already, right? Why not recast both? So, and then keep everybody else. Like, because it would, that's the one thing I hate, and this is why I say I'll still go watch movies with controversial people, is it feels bad that other people that are trying to make it in the industry can get fucked over by one main person, like Ezra. Like, everybody's like, oh, then we might not go watch that, but it's like, oh, well, what about everybody else that's in that production that this is their big break? Sasha Kaye, like, we're really gonna fuck over Sasha Kaye because Ezra Miller's a bitch, like, that sucks. Same thing as Zachary Levi is this weird dude. Why are we going to fuck over the rest of the cast that worked hard on the movie too? Like, I just don't believe in that. Also, it's not like one of those J.K. Rowling things where it's like she's going to get royalties. They've been paid. Like, it's only to like get them another movie in the future or something like that. I mean, maybe that's what people don't want. He's not making royalties off of Shazam. So is what it is. And then moving on from that, I guess the only other news that is major this week is, if you're a Gotham Knights fan, is that Joe Chill has been cast in the show. Is he going to be the one that killed Bruce Wayne? Like, who cares?
I literally saw somebody say, why the hell is Joe Chill casted in a show where Batman is already dead? Like why? And you, unfortunately, you already know what is the significance of Joe Chill? The killing of the parents. The one thing that everybody's tired of seeing, we're going to see again in an even crappier version.
Yeah, I don't know why you even need that. I mean, it would be interesting if Joe Chill was the one that killed Batman, you know? But like even then, what would be the significance, you know?
Yeah.
I just think it's a stupid show. They made up a new kid. I swear to God, if I ever see that kid in the comics, like they better not be like, oh, he's in a show, we're gonna put him in the comics now. I'm gonna be like, if I write him, he's dead. I don't care. Make him popular, he's dead. Nah, hate him. I just think it's dumb. That whole show, I wish that would be one thing James Gunn could cancel and be like, you know, we're just gonna pull the plug now. WB's done worse. You know, they've canceled a bunch of other stuff. I just read an article because I think was the investor called last week or 2 weeks ago. I got the burps.
I think it was last week.
So you said they lost like $1.2 billion or something like that, something around those figures. I just saw that there is a show that apparently was getting a lot of buzz as the next Euphoria. That did you see that? You see that show with Johnny Depp's daughter in it? Yeah, so it's getting a lot of crazy hype for being a show that they were really excited about because it was going to talk about how the industry fucks over like young starlets and stuff like that. And somehow, I guess a new director, a new showrunner has come in and taken over, and they're reshooting the whole fucking series, like adding like another. They spent like 50 to 75 million on this series already, so they're reshooting it. And now, like, people are saying now it's kind of like torture porn or some shit like that.
Yeah. So, I think it
has the Weeknd in it too.
I think the Rolling Stones just put out an
that's
article.
where I was reading it from. Yeah.
The actual quote on the tweet said that, oh shit, where did it go? I saw it just earlier.
Yeah, I was reading the article earlier today too. It came across my timeline.
But just the fact that, like, it says here, they scrapped the whole thing, and it reportedly the Weeknd shows overarching message and instead increasing the amount of disturbing sexual content and nudity. And basically, it is somebody explained it in the Rolling Stones saying that it was basically every rape fantasy a misogynistic man has ever dreamt of, or something like that. And I'm just like, God damn.
I was all like I am somebody that is very for artistic vision, but you can do too much of something, you know? Like, I don't say anything's ever off the table because I think the story, whatever makes the story stronger or better, I'm for it. I know a lot of people had issues with stuff like that in Game of Thrones, right? But I mean, I figured in that time frame, in that era, that probably happened a lot, you know? So it was fitting or whatever. I don't think it should be like something that happens every episode. I don't even think, like, as much as I'm a proponent of nudity and stuff like that too, I don't even think that should be in everything. Like, because you can have too much of it. Sometimes you just need a little sprinkle and you're just like, oh, cool, awesome. But yeah, I do think there are some shows out there that kind of go overboard with it. I've never watched Euphoria or whatever, but I hear there is like a lot of boobs and stuff in that too, and people have complained about that. So yeah, I don't know. But I saw that and I was like, dude, WB is just throwing money away. How do you film a show that you were really excited about? They've dropped trailers for it already and then just reshoot all of it. Like, blows my mind. So I don't know what is happening at WB with their shows that are not superheroes, but holy crap. So that is some crazy shit going on. But that is all we got for the entertainment portion of the podcast. Now we're going to move on to your viewer questions. And since we did this so late, we only got 2 in the Discord. But the first one is from John. Cue for the podcast. What job would you get in the DC universe?
So I feel like this question has not been asked to us personally, but I feel like just in conversation, people have always asked, like, what universe would you like to live in?
Yeah.
And like the idea of, like, people are like, I wouldn't want to live in any of these because, like, your house could easily be destroyed inside of Metropolis, or, you know, something crazy could happen. you could be siphoned off energy. We'll talk about that later today.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was in the DC universe, knowing that superheroes exist in my world, honestly, I think, as crazy as it sounds, I think maybe journalism would
Yeah.
legitimately be something that would be compelling, very competitive. But that's already how it is today. Uh, but I think that would be kind of fun, or quite possibly in the movie industry, because now you have like legitimate inspiration for
Yeah.
everything. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like you'd also, I mean, they probably never do it, but like you'd probably get the real people to do the action scenes. Like you just film everything like, oh, handheld, oh shit, real shit. I think two different ones, because like in real life, I figured if I wasn't into all this creative stuff, and I figured I'd also do this if I just had a lot of money and I knew like I was taken care of, my family was taken care of. I've always kind of wanted to go back to school to get like a psychology degree, because I think the human mind is very interesting. So I'd probably do something like that, try to get a job like at an Arkham, or maybe not something as crazy as Arkham, but like to deal with the criminal mind in a superhero universe, I think would be very interesting. But the other one would be crime scene cleanup, just to see how fucked up a lot of these villains were and what they did, and just be there and be like, oh shit, oh crap. Because I'd probably also do like, I don't know what the rules are of crime scene cleanups, but like, how vaguely can you talk about that stuff? Because I figure you could do a podcast and be like, yo, I just went to this one scene recently that was fucking gangster, you know? Or like something along those lines. Like, I wonder how that works, because, you know, yeah, that'd be crazy shit. But, or photographer. I think that would be probably, you said journalism, but like if you're doing crime scene photography and just doing all that kind of shit, who
Be wild.
knows? Yeah, it would be wild. I feel like if superheroes were real, though, it'd probably be more like The Boys than anything. I just feel like that's how it would be. Like, I just feel like there would be a lot of corrupt people with power. Because like there's corruption now and nobody has superhero powers. Like, you fucking have one Homelander. It's GG, dude. Imagine a bunch of them fucking walking down Charlotte's with their fucking tiki torches, like all Homelanders. Like, you're done.
Jesus Christ.
Like, GG. But yeah, I would probably go with one of those. We got it's Charlie, bro. How far do you see the new DCU going? Like, do you think that we'll see characters from Nightwing to Punchline? We were supposed to have been seeing Nightwing years ago. Well, the Nightwing thing should have happened, but the director got like Dungeons and Dragons and a whole bunch of other movies, and he's like, yeah, we're still working on the Nightwing stuff. I doubt he's in the picture anymore at all. And now with James Gunn taking over, yeah, I think I'd probably be shocked if we don't see Punchline in the movies, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives a nice companion to Joker. I feel like, I don't know how they would keep it under wraps, but I think if you could not show her and she's a surprise, like in a Joker movie and Punchline shows up, I think that'd be really cool.
I think it would make sense. And the reason why I think it would make sense that Punchline shows up, and I know this isn't the question, but just bouncing off of you, is the fact that we have seen an independent Harley.
Yeah.
The fact that we see a Harley that is separate from Joker. You have that, and you have that history, that implied history, because this, of course, is going to be a somewhat of a new universe. You choose whoever Joker you're going to choose, and instead of looking for somebody who is going to be compatible with Margot Robbie, you find whoever is going to be compatible with the new person you want as Punchline.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you go for. And I think that'll be really, really fun. But in regards to how long do you think this will go, I think that James Gunn will sign 2 more contracts. And I think it'll go for, at right now, minimum 12 years.
I think it will all depend on the success of the first few films. The thing that sucks is you can't count these next 4, but I think people on the internet are going to. So that means something like Superman and the Batman movie and stuff are gonna have to be like lights out awesome. But here's the thing too. I think a lot of people are gonna constantly compare the new DC movies to Marvel's box office, and I'm like, you can't do that. Like, it's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get Avengers because like a lot of the last Marvel movies have been like close to a billy like every time, right? I haven't been keeping up with the box office, but they're doing pretty well. And so a lot of people are like, look at Eternals made this much, and y'all can't even scratch that. Like, well, you know, I'm like, dude, yeah, it also has like it's post Endgame, and they're building a new stories and stuff like that. Of course, there's already a built-in audience. Like, people are gonna go watch that no matter what. It's just like the John Wick stuff. Everybody's gonna go John Wick. We just bought tickets for it. Like, you know, it's just that kind of shit. Like, once you have an audience, they'll keep coming back. So, yeah, I don't know. I could see it going minimum 10 years, but I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a little bit of doubt that it could. If Superman sucks, people would be like, "Yep, they're never going to get it right," and you know.
But that's what I also mean by when we talked about it last week when I said that Zaslav needs to have trust in Gunn.
Yeah.
He needs to know that if one show stings or if one movie doesn't make exactly the amount that they want, that they just need to keep going. Because eventually, because I think that's more than anything. Because if the studio says, "Oh, we fucked up," then the rest of the people, the general audience and fans, they're like, "Oh yeah, they fucked up. They even said so."
Yeah.
The opinions of general audience and us don't matter as much as the people who are actually fucking running it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. If we are like bickering over like, "Oh, this is better. Oh no, this is better. Oh, that wasn't as good. Oh, well, this one was," like, we're still giving them their money, like our money. That's what they care about. And as long as you keep pumping all that shit out, I think it'll last a while.
Yeah. It sucks that Shazam's going to be the first test. And people are going to be like, "Oh, see, it's Donnie." I'm like, bro, this movie was made so long ago, but that's what you're going to hear on Twitter. So yeah, it sucks. I hope it's 20 years. That's what I would hope, but there ain't no guarantee of that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping it is. I'm just hoping it's entertaining. That's all I'm going to say. Even if it's just 5 years, I hope the next 5 years are entertaining as fuck. So moving on over to the YouTube, we got Moncre. Why the heck is Rami Malek always the fan favorite cast for Scarecrow? I've seen some of his work and just can't see it. Not sure why people would think he'd fit the role. Thoughts? I think it's his eyes and his face. I think he's just got a very unique look, and he's kind of got a, you know, if you saw him on the street, you'd be like, something about that guy. And I think it's just his facial features.
Is he the one from the
iRobot show? Or Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He's the one that played Queen.
Okay, yeah.
What's his face? Oh my god, I'm forgetting the singer's name. Fucking. Oh my god, I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting the lead singer's name. Queen. I don't know. Fuck, Stevie. No, I was gonna say Stevie Wonder. Totally different. Why the fuck am I missing his name?
Mercury.
Freddie Mercury. There you go. Stevie Wonder. But yeah, so I don't know. I that's the first time I've ever heard that. But he has a unique look. I've never heard that personally as a fan casting. Wouldn't be my first pick.
I think I've seen it once or twice. I don't think he would be my first pick either. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I would cast him in the Batman universe though.
Him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know right now. Not at the top of my hand.
You know what? Because I've seen him in more of like in the shows that I have seen him in, or maybe even movies, he's been a little bit weirder. I would say freaking the doctor, the Arkham Hugo Strange, yeah.
Everybody wants Dave Bautista right now for some reason.
Well, it's because of the knock at the cabin, I think.
Yeah,
is the reason why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a pick for him, to be honest. Yeah, I don't have anybody right now, to be honest. So Got nothing. But yeah, I mean, I could see him as Scarecrow, but I mean, he wouldn't be my first pick.
Yeah.
So going on to the next one, we got Nathan. Which character would be most interesting to see? Condiment Queen, Patty Burgess, is a food-based villain that is essentially Condiment King's Harley. Burger to his sauces. Bat, Batman's new Bat sidekick that is used for spy missions, full with gadgets and outfit. And then Guano is a poop-based baddie who wants Gotham to know it's gone to shit. He's Mr. Freeze. He's Mr. Freeze powerful, but isn't deadly. So Guano falling Bat, like I was just all like, I thought the Bat was named Guano when I first read
here's
this.
here's the problem with Bat though. I'm pretty sure Clown Hunter, I'm pretty sure that's his bat's name is Bat, right?
Oh, probably. Oh, his actual bat? Maybe.
Yeah, the
I
Bat
don't know.
I think that's what he called it. I think he's like, oh yeah, this is my Bat, and it's like that's fucking stupid. So you know what? I'm gonna give it to Condiment Queen. That's the only winner here, I think.
Yeah, Bat with an outfit and gadgets seems really weird. Like, I can understand a bat maybe helping out Batman for spy missions, but he'd have to talk. Unless he has a camera on him and, like, he flies around. But have you ever seen a bat just, like, glide? I've only seen bats ever be chaotic. And they're, like, flying all over the ways. And like, oh, shit.
That is true. I mean? Yeah, no, I actually, when I was younger, a bat flew into our house, and the only way that we could get it out was we had to seal off the room with a mattress. Like we had to pick up the mattress to block off a corner of the house, and then it finally just like went out the door. Yeah, no, bats are usually kind of chaotic. I don't know how you would, unless it was like somehow in the sense of like hypnosis or whatever, but I feel like that's kind of cruel. So I don't think Batman would do that.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That would be he has no problem using kids as fighting weapons, but probably draws a line at animals. He usually helps animals, to be honest. But yeah, I guess Condiment Queen probably the best. Although Guano, a poop-based baddie, I feel like I've heard worse in Gotham, so I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, Condiment Queen, Patty Burgess is actually just a really good name. So shout out to you. That was a solid thing, Nathan. Eduardo de la Cruz, riddle me this. Who's freaking winning? Deathstroke versus Captain America. Condiment King versus Clown Hunter. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to go for my hate now. And then Mr. Satin versus Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Satan from
yeah, I know. Is it Satan or Satin when they pronounce it in the show though?
I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Satan.
Is it Mr. Satan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze is kicking his ass. I mean, but are we doing it from the show, like the way the show does it? Because that means somebody's going to save him and make him look good. So that means Mr. Freeze would be fighting Goku or somebody like Gohan, and then Mr. Freeze is getting his ass beat. If we're doing it in terms of a Dragon Ball Z show, Mr. Satan. If we're doing just one-on-one, Mr. Freeze beats his ass because he also has Majin Buu by his side.
But see, I also feel like in a way, like most crossovers kind of do this, that like depending on if they're at like their home universe, they get like home field advantage or whatever.
Yeah.
So like if Mr. Satan is in Gotham, his ass is getting kicked. But if he's within the DBZ universe, I feel like he would win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just going one-on-one fight, no home field advantage. Mr. Freeze beats him, like hands down. Deathstroke versus Captain America. I feel like it's a relatively good fight. I'd probably go Deathstroke.
This one is actually really fun because you have to really think about the weapons that they choose. So of course, Deathstroke has guns and a sword. Captain America has a shield, which it has huge reach. Which I think is phenomenal. In this case of fighting. I don't know, man. This one would be really, really fun.
Are we
Uh,
saying that Deathstroke has his like a basic sword? Because doesn't he have like that God Killer sword that fucking is super epic and shit too? I'm
I
assuming we
never
can't
know the
give him
history.
that.
I
Yeah,
never know the history of his swords or whatever. If there's
yeah.
anything like mystical about them or
He
not.
had like some super powered sword, I want to say, in the last like 2 or 3 years. I could be completely making that up, but I
Okay.
want to say that there was something revolving around some type of sword he had that was like badass. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, anybody that's read Deathstroke recently. I mean, Captain America does have a lot of reach, but he's also only got like super strength, you know?
Well, the super soldier serum does in a way give him like faster healing,
Yeah.
just like Deathstroke has, but I don't think it's as powerful as whatever Deathstroke has. I
But
don't
Deathstroke
think
also has the fighting. Like Captain America is just a really good soldier,
I was
you
gonna say
know?
he's had military training. He
Yeah.
doesn't, and you can say the same way that like Batman trained to become Batman.
Mhm.
Captain America, Steve Rogers, trained to be a better Captain America once he woken up from ice.
Yeah.
So you can kind of say that he may have more than just regular military training,
Yeah.
because he trained with that of like Black Panther later on in his years. Uh, and there's been stories of him. He's referenced like doing other training as well.
Mhm.
Uh, I I'm gonna go Captain America.
Okay.
Because I and the only reason why I'm going Captain America is I think that the shield would be a surprise to Deathstroke.
I'm gonna go Deathstroke just for the fighting aspect. Because I feel like
Okay.
they would cancel each other out with weapons. The guns and stuff would be blocked by the shield. I feel like if you threw the shield, he could at least block it with his sword. You know what I mean? Like it would make probably knock him back, but he wouldn't take the blunt of the damage from the sword.
But that's what I mean. Like the shield has this weird like bounce capability that it does. And I
Mhm.
don't think that Deathstroke would like see that coming. That's when I say it would be a surprise factor.
Interesting. Huh.
Because you don't really see anybody in the DC universe using a shield.
Batman uses batarangs that used to turn back and fly around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I just think depending on what storyline you're going with when it comes to Deathstroke, he was supposed to be the demon's head. So I mean, he
Yeah.
was supposed to be what, Ra's al Ghul's successor. And, they both got trained. He trained Batman and Deathstroke. I feel like Batman, there's no question that he beats Captain America, and Deathstroke's beat Batman. Um, I don't know. I think it would come down to who do the weapon. I'm gonna say Deathstroke. I think it comes down to what weapons Deathstroke has. Is what I would put in there, because does he have his full arsenal? Can he like distract Captain America? Can he do all this kind of stuff? I think if you take away no weapons, who do you got? I'm talking hand-to-hand combat.
Hand to hand, I'm going Deathstroke.
Yeah, I would go Deathstroke because he knows more martial arts. Although I've seen, Steve Rogers rip a log in half. So maybe if he gets a hold of Deathstroke's like jaw, dead. But he wears a mask, so you probably wouldn't have to worry about that. So yeah, I think we're split there. Condiment King versus Clown Hunter.
I want to
fucking hate
hear
this
yours
question.
first. I want to hear yours first. I want to hear you say it.
Clown Hunter's killed people. And he's disabled the Batmobile. As much as I hate the kid, I
Guys,
think
you
he
better
beats
download
him.
this episode, save this clip, do whatever you
Yeah.
can.
I'm
This is the
still gonna
only
kill
time
it.
you're going to hear him say
Yeah.
anything good about Clown Hunter.
I'll still kill Clown Hunter if I get to write Batman. I would probably Condiment King would have a better time in my universe of writing Batman than Clown Hunter. I'll say that. I like Condiment King more than I'll ever like Clown Hunter. But just based off comic books and what I've seen, they've made Clown Hunter a little too OP. He's been training with Ghost Hunter and or whatever the fuck his name is, Ghost Mask, or I already forgot his name. Yeah, I have to sadly give it to Clown Hunter. Because again, Condiment King's just a nobody. But I hate Clown Hunter. Fuck him. I hope he dies. Like, he should. Multiple times. He should have died in that run. I'll always say that. Shouldn't have been the designer. Should have been Clown Hunter.
Yeah, for real. I just wanted to hear you say it, but I do agree with you. Clown Hunter does have the experience of actually killing, where Condiment King, as of right now, I don't believe he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, Condiment King would get his ass beat by a kid.
Yeah. I just want to throw this out there in advance. Anybody in Tinian's run would probably be Condiment King. So don't every week run down a Tinian character that I hate. So just saying that now. Anyways, next up we got Jason Todd. If you could see a One Bad Day series from any Batman villain, who would you be interested in? Who would introduce you the most and why? Dyslexia. Who do you got? I got mine already.
I think ours might be the same.
I don't know. I'd be shocked if you're picking mine.
I know we already got the really good story in the digital first comic, but Mothman.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would want anything better than Mothman. That's a really good story. That Mothman story is really cool because it adds a different aspect to him that I would have never thought about. And it always seemed like he was a jokey kind of villain, and they kind of made him a smart villain.
But even so here's something that I guess has never been asked to us before. What if they were to take that story from the Gotham Knights digital first series, made it into a One Bad Day, but just elaborated the story? Like, instead of the 12 pages that it was, make it into a 60 or 80 page giant. How'd you feel about that?
I'm gonna counter argument with this. How would you feel if they added more pages to the John Carpenter Joker story?
See, I don't like that one.
Exactly.
I don't like that.
I think when you find a story that is so good, you don't want to touch it. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I get so antsy when Jeff Johns tried to touch Killing Joke and like all of that. Cause I'm like, dude, those stories in my mind are already perfect or solid. You have to be really, really good to add to that kind of stuff. And so I don't want to touch the Mothman story. This is what I would want to do though. To make it a One Bad Day book, you get a bunch of other smaller characters like Mothman, give them 12 pages and do the same kind of story, and then make that one Bad Day book. Like One Bad Day for various villains. I don't know what you would call it. Like, One Bad Day, the Forgotten Villains, or some stupid shit. The no name, because then you could do a 12-page Condiment King video or book.
So like the One Bad Day anthology,
something like that. Like where you just have a bunch of random villains in there. Remember when they did that villain book that had, was that the Penguin one that had that horrible Penguin story by Danny DeVito? Like, remember it was a bunch of villains in a book? Like, do something like that. Which, to be honest, I think that's where the Mothman book, it's in that book, but you say it's in Gotham Knights. I read it in that anthology book. So unless they reprinted it, because I have it downloaded.
They may have reprinted it.
So,
I'll double check though.
They don't have the DC app anymore, so all of my Gotham Knights books are just on the app, and I can't see anything else. That DC app got terminated. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't in the ones I bought, that's for sure. But anyways, I would go. So you're saying Mothman? That's yours. I would go either Scarface or Dollmaker. Those would be my two. I would love to see how Dollmaker became Dollmaker. How did he go from a guy that just started sewing up people and making dolls out of real human skin and body parts? Like, that's a fucked up story. I want to know. Also, same thing with Scarface. How does Scarface become One Bad Day?
Also, it's not Mothman, it's Killer Moth.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, Killer Moth.
I got those two confused. I'm looking also for some like honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
I would say let's see here. Give me a One Bad Day Hugo Strange.
Okay.
Because I personally,
Mm-hmm.
I've never really looked into his origin. Like, I don't know enough about Hugo Strange to be like, oh, I don't need that. I already know
Yeah.
him. Like, I would want to know what makes him tick and all of that stuff. So I would be okay with a Hugo Strange. And I think I would also be down for oh well, we're getting a Ra's al Ghul next month.
Yeah.
What would you
Mhm.
say is one of your honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions. I wouldn't go with Hugo Strange, and the only reason why I wouldn't care for one, Hugo Strange has been ruined for me because of Batman Terror. And in Batman Terror, Hugo Strange has a Batman sex doll.
Sex doll, yeah.
Yeah, and
I've
it's so weird. And I'm just like, why do you have that? Like, it's so weird. Honorable mention. I'm trying to think of a really like obscure Batman villain. I'm like looking at my books, and of course, like they're not coming up with anything. One Bad Day, Black Mask. So see
okay,
how that goes.
yeah.
Granted, didn't we get those though? Didn't we get like origins of all these characters? Because wasn't it his mom like a makeup artist or something? Like Year of the
I
Villain
don't.
did a lot of that shit, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe not Black Mask, because then we showed like because apparently Black Mask was like really handsome or something, and he was like doing makeup or some shit because of his mom, and then he burnt the thing onto his face or some shit. Um, yeah, I don't. I only say Black Mask because that's the only thing I could think of right now. I'm pretty sure there's some better villains I would be more interested in. I'm pretty sure there's some badass female villains I would like to see, but I can't even think of them right now. So yeah, I'd go with that. One Bad Day, Clock King. Although, if you go watch his animated episode, that is his One Bad Day. So I think it works for him there. Got the burps. Let's see. Clay says, which of these alternate universe scenarios would be most hype? Nolan Batman, Scarecrow. Okay, Nolan Batman, I guess the series. The Scarecrow and Joker reluctantly team up to defeat Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. So the first two villains of the first two movies take on the villain of the third movie. Why would Batman be there? I would say that. Or why would Batman even matter there? We got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill live action Joker / Batman fight. And 3, Bale Batman, Roth Superman, world's finest movie instead of The Dark Knight Rises. I think number 1 I just throw in the trash. I don't care about that.
One, I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Joker was always supposed to be in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
And
apparently
then
he
he had to be written out of
Mm.
that story. And I kind of hate the Scarecrow's cameo
Yeah.
in Rises. Like, it was just like,
So-
hey, you
so
need to
weird.
be in this film just to kind of make it go full
Yeah.
circle.
And the dialogue was cheesy as fuck. Not my diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like, I hated that. It's almost as bad as the fucking policeman. It's not. That's not good. Fucking hate that guy. I swear to God. Throws out the whole movie.
I will go ahead and throw away number 1 as well. Number 2, we got a version of each of them live action.
mhm.
A fight between them live action. Don't necessarily think I would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Just because I just love their animated forms. But I remember a rumor that happened immediately after The Dark Knight,
Mhm.
that almost made number 3 like even possible. Like, after The Dark Knight, there was so many rumors of Routh and Bale going into WB to sign a contract for World's Finest.
That would have been cool.
It would have been awesome, but I just don't think they were like super interested in doing anything like that. So
Crazy shit. Yeah, I'd probably go with 3 as well. I think that's the more interesting one. But prime, like young Kevin Conroy and young Mark Hamill in Joker and Batman might be cool. So like I'm talking about like Luke Skywalker Hamill,
Oh, okay.
you know.
I could
So
see that.
it would be interesting, but yeah. So that's all the questions we got for this
Oh,
week.
little
Oh, did I miss one?
Alexis Barrera.
Oh, it's not popping up on my end. Oh,
Yeah,
all right,
so
go for
he
it.
this was 37 minutes ago.
Oh shit.
So very like in the middle of us recording. If you could give any villain the Speed Force, who would it be and why? He says, "I choose Croc."
Croc's just gonna eat everybody. Hum 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 hum. Like
That's
just
fucking
fucking biting
insane.
off everybody. We already kind of talked about this. Somebody else asked this. I mean, Zaz.
Oh,
Like,
that's
yeah,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then
yeah.
he would like every time he'd cut himself, he'd just heal and be like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
Like
he
how
wouldn't
deep was
be able
the cut?
to fuck up his body anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, either like Zaz or I would like to see like somebody else in the Bat family get it.
Mhm. Okay.
And like I mean, they're not doing anything with this character anyway. Give it to Duke.
Yeah.
Give him even more crazy powers.
He would just be like the other Wally though. They're both yellow. They both got the Speed Force,
Oh
both black.
no.
Like it would just be the same kind of character. So
Oh, I
like
didn't
I
even
think that
think
would be the
about that.
worst. Give it to Stephanie. If you're going Bat Family, because she's always kind of the
Why
butt of
not?
the
Yeah.
joke, you know.
Yeah.
Because at least she go back to being spoiler, because like she'll be fast like a car, you know. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah, so there you go. The spoiler takes on a different name. So yeah, I would go with that. But yeah, crazy stuff. Anyways, that is it for your viewer questions. Sorry if we missed you. That one, like I said, we almost missed that one by Alexis because we're recording a day early, just in case you missed that at the start of the podcast. But now we're moving on to comic reviews. This was a shorter podcast. If there is anything that comes out today or in the next day or so, we will cover it on next week's podcast. But let's move over to comics and let's talk about because I think we can talk about this the anime episode that we witnessed earlier. But let's talk about the ending of Tom King's run on Human Target. So I think some people in the Discord were not happy with the last issue. And then some people, I loved it. I loved the last issue. I think you were on the fence of it. I'm not too sure. I don't remember.
So this, at first, I'll be completely honest. I was like, this is the end? Like,
yeah, I feel like a lot of people would think that.
Like, just because I was reading it and like, fucking Chance dies the very beginning of the issue. He's dead. And then you're just going throughout the aftermath. And the thing for me that kind of solidified me not liking it is and I totally get the argument, and I feel like I already know your argument going into it, is that in King's stories, of course, he writes these characters very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, anybody can do bad things.
Yeah.
Anybody, especially for people that you might care about and everything else. Like, humans are unpredictable. That is something that is very real in our world.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I don't like that Tom does is he takes the fantasy away from us sometimes. And with these characters that we have a preconceived notion of, yeah, we had we didn't really have the argument, but we argued with people that were listening to the podcast about the fantasy that, yeah, guy's an asshole, but he would never be a murderer. Like, he would never do this. He would never stretch out to be this kind of person. Yes, but he's still a hero, right? And he is still an asshole. And with this ending, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. I'm not going to, beat around the bush anymore. The ending of this book basically leads up to Ice killing Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the impression that they gave you. Yeah.
that's the impression that they give you. And it is a long time coming. Like, from almost, I wouldn't say the beginning of this book,
Mhm.
but like as soon as you see the conversation going with Martian Manhunter, you're like, yeah, this is not going to end well with Ice,
Yeah.
in the sense of who she is becoming. Not necessarily she's going to get her comeuppance because she is doing a bad thing, but she is doing a bad thing and might actually get away with it.
Yeah.
And you can headcanon like, oh, Lex Luthor dies, and there's another investigation, Batman is involved, and then boom, Ice gets caught
Yeah.
for killing Lex Luthor. Yeah, you could totally headcanon this. But in a world of superheroes where these people do great things because they're great people, like that, this one kind of rubbed me the wrong way at the very end. And again, this is somebody who loves Superman, who
Mhm.
despises Lex Luthor, but like seeing a hero intentionally poison and kill Lex Luthor, like,
Yeah.
god damn.
Yeah. I could totally see that argument. My thing with this is I've said it many times while we read this book. Even though like Ice was automatically the first suspect, right? In this first book, like when
Yeah.
you're reading this book. So when it turned out to be Ice in general, I was like, yeah, we saw that coming. But the story itself was a wild ride and it was awesome to read. But you know, Tom King loves the noir stuff, and the classic trope of noir is the femme fatale, and she's always the suspect, and she's always the one that gets the better of the detective. So it doesn't surprise me at all, but I enjoyed the ride, right? Like you go into superhero movies, you always know the heroes are going to win, right? They're going to go through some shit, but the heroes are always going to win. Kind of same thing with this. You know, the femme fatale is going to cause some shit. I like that Chance died. I will stick by that because I
Yes.
think if he would have just magically got cured, Batman had a serum or something like that, I think I would have been kind of pissed. So I'm glad that he just died. And I think this became an Ice story at the end of the day because she was the main reason why this whole thing got started, right? Why did they try to kill Lex Luthor in the first place? It's because Lex killed Ice at one point.
Yeah.
And so it's always been a revenge story. And I think this was one of those classic things of if somebody can get away with something, what stops them from doing it again, right? And
Yeah.
she got away with it the first time. She killed Chance, somebody she ended up falling in love with. And she was like, well, he died. He's the only one that knows. I can fucking bully Martian Manhunter into not knowing, and I could kill Lex Luthor. And she will do it again. And I think that's, I
Well,
think it, go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna say it's not necessarily she's bullying Martian Manhunter into not knowing. Martian Manhunter was picking up the trail, and she's like, "Oh, nope, you can't do that," because
Mhm.
of course she knows that if anybody finds out, it's like they're gonna find out that it was her,
Yeah.
and so she blackmails him, and she like goes straight for the throat when they call when he calls her and talks to her.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. And so I think what this came down to, and I think this is what the big trope is in a lot of Tom King's comics, is not every superhero is good. You know, we've seen that with a lot of his other like we saw Adam Strange was not a good guy at the end of the day. And I think Ice is kind of the same thing. Because and I think stories like this only emphasize Batman's no kill rule even more, that superheroes don't kill, right? Because if you realize you have the power to take a life and get away with it, what keeps you from doing it again? What keeps you from being a villain? She has shown that she is not a hero. She is a villain because she accidentally killed somebody and then she was like, fuck, it didn't work the first time. Let me do it again and get it
Yeah.
this time. And she, well, we assume succeeds. So at the end of this, I would not consider Isa. It's funny because we had the argument of Guy being a dick or whatever and like doing all this stuff. Guy's an accomplice. He did this shit too. Fire's an accomplice as well. I would say both of them are cool with bending the rules to their own way.
It looks like Justice League Detroit is all full of fucking criminals.
Yeah. So again, I
Freaking
don't mind.
Booster stealing from different eras to make his freaking bagel shop that ended up failing to begin with. Like,
Because people got sick from some ancient yeast or some shit like that, whatever it was. Yeah, I think overall, I think the series itself was fucking great. I said this on the last episode that we covered this. I wish he would have killed her. I just for once want a story that ends
when
like
it did
that.
when it did the flashback
Yeah,
to them on the beach, and the whole thing was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I have to ask you a favor." She's like, "Oh wait, are you sure it's not you? You don't want to kill me? It's you." Or what did she said? Uh, she says, "Oh, you can't kill me because you need a favor, or
mhm,
you can't kill me and you need a favor.
yeah,
Like, which one is it?" And he says, "Does it make a difference?" Um, I would have kind of preferred if he legitimately found out and then there was actual justice. Just because for me, I'm gonna go with an old quote that my friend Ray over on a different podcast says, "I hate when the bad guy wins."
yeah,
Um, and you're right. Like, even though Ice has always been depicted as a hero, in this particular story, she is the villain. And I just don't like when villains win.
yeah, yeah. I agree. It sucks, but I just reading it from the noir aspect. So I was
Yeah.
like, I was always expecting that. But that's why I said I would have loved for her to get shot. Like it would have been awesome because that would have been the justice, right? And then you could have had the final issue be a story of him like, well, in the last 12 days I fell in love, solved the mystery, and now I'm gonna die either way. Like that
Yeah.
would have been interesting. And then you could have had just Batman show up and just had a few words with him before he died. Like that would have been epic. But yeah, in hindsight, there's always a better way to write a story, right? But I enjoyed this ride. I think this is one of Tom King's top books for sure. But yeah, I think it is a little different. This final issue didn't seem that exciting because I already knew what was going to happen. I knew she wasn't going to die. You know, that's what I'm saying. If I would have turned the page and she would have died, I would have been like, "Oh fuck, King did it. He killed Alfred." So it's not like I can't say that he won't do something. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I still enjoy the story, but I could definitely see people thinking that this was a wet fart at the end because they didn't get the ending they wanted.
I will say there is a cover of this issue that I absolutely want.
Which one's that?
It's the one where you see the back of Chance and he
Mhm.
has the target on him, and you just see like
Oh yeah,
her looking into the reader's eyes or whatever. Like, that cover looks awesome.
yeah.
I really like
Cla-
that one.
classic noir type poster.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the book was good because again, I think King not created a character, but he showed a character a lot of people didn't know, and he made him awesome. And I think that was really cool. And we'll always have that Batman issue where Batman wasn't in it, but it was all about Batman. I thought that was a
Yeah.
fucking fantastic issue. If Tom King would,
It made my top
yeah,
10 2022 books.
he should have won an Eisner for that. He should win an Eisner for that. I think the Eisners were already over by the time that came out. For that issue alone, that issue was phenomenal. But yeah, moving on from there, we had two other books, right? I know I'm missing.
So Batman versus Robin #5 and Punchline the Gotham Game #5.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were covering that anymore.
So we totally missed an issue, but I read
Yeah,
this one.
I think we stopped. I don't know if we stopped caring because the Catwoman stuff didn't matter anymore either. You know.
Yeah.
And in this particular issue, since we have skipped an issue, I guess we can kind of just say like there's a new villain or like another part of the family, some big bulky dude that's like Ace of Spades or some shit. I forget. I don't know what his name or the heart. But essentially, freaking everything that's going on here is like the Royal Flush family kind of leaves Punchline to die at the end. Like they let her
Yeah.
fall and they're like, oh, Punchline wouldn't save us. So like we got to keep going on with the mission, right? And who finds her at the end? The Joker from that story we dropped a long time ago. And like, so it's weird that a lot of comics right now are actually interweaving with each other, and we dropped all of them.
Yeah. I was going to
Yeah.
say, like, this is, again, kind of in the same way that, like, we talked about, the one thing that we've always wanted from a Batman movie in a Batman universe is like happening in Reeves' universe is something that we don't want. And like the same thing here, like the one time we actually want connective books to tell a larger story and it'd be fun, like the books aren't great with them. And with this, I dug the art. I still dig the art of this book. I think it's awesome. We see Blue Jay in this issue, and a wild callback from Batman and Robin Eternal, which I have not read. But when she's like, "Oh, it's a good thing I have this nanite inhibitor or whatever," and I was like, "Oh, how convenient!" And then there's actually an editor's note being like, "Oh, she actually did invent this back in Batman and Robin number 26."
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so Blue Jay was always one of those characters that I thought they could have done a lot more with, and they kind of just let her go. Wait, I actually don't think her name is Blue Jay. I think we've had this discussion before. Isn't it Bluebird?
Bluebird, sorry.
Yeah, Blue Jay would be so much better.
Yes,
so
it would.
Stupid. I don't know why they named her Blue. That's so easy to retcon. Like, can't somebody just be like, why are you the fuck you call Bluebird? Why don't we just call you Blue Jay? It sounds so much better and cooler. But I mean, then again, like Drake was called Drake at one point. Isn't that like a duck or some shit?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so who knows? But hey, they retconned him. So yeah. If you're reading that, like you might also want to read Catwoman, which that has not been exciting. I've also already like went ahead and checked out the other ones, and I'm just like, what is going on with some of these books right now? But yeah, if you want to know everything that's interconnected right now, so Catwoman crosses over with this Punchline book, which is also crossing over now with Rosenberg's Two Jokers. Or what is that book even called? The Joker Who Stopped Laughing?
Yeah.
So yeah, you might want to read all three of those series if you want to know what's going on, because they are now all connecting with each other. Yeah, I don't know. I wish we would have this connectivity in other books. I would assume Catwoman and Batman are going to cross over in the next 4 issues, I think. Whatever's going to happen with... I will say... Yeah, you might want to definitely jump on Catwoman because these books are definitely going to cross over more. That's all I'll say about that. Let's move on to the last book of the week. The comics this week weren't that great, guys. Although, I want to point out, we dropped Detective. But Detective had a really great moment this week.
I saw you say something about that in the Discord.
Yes. So Detective, I'm pretty sure. Let me just verify, because I saw Ram V tweet this out. He was like, since this is making the rounds, I can finally tell you that these are my 2 favorite pages so far. And I want to make sure. Okay. Yeah. So there's this moment where Gordon, this is Detective 1960 or 1069 giggity. And Gordon is having a drink, and he's in a room. He has like a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever, and he's talking to Batman, who is hurt. Like there's a few pages where he's hurt. They're literally separated by a door. Gordon could get up and walk through a door, but Bruce is just kind of like talking to him, and he's like putting his stuff back on. He's wrapping his chest because he's gotten hurt or whatever. And Gordon's just kind of having a chat with him. And he's just kind of telling him about stuff. And you see Batman listening to Gordon. And Gordon's like, hey, you there? You're doing one of those disappearing acts like always, huh? Just old man Gordon just here talking to himself. And Bruce is actually listening to him. And he hasn't disappeared. Gordon just thinks he has because he's done it so many times. And then he's hearing him out. And then he jumps out the window, which I think is a really cool moment. Because he's like, no, he stayed there and cared. Like he heard him talking through his drunken, not tirade, but like just thoughts. And I thought that was really interesting because that's something you don't see from, and it just shows a little bit of emotion in Batman, which I thought was really cool. It's like, yeah, I disappear on you. I know how to do that, but it doesn't mean I don't care about what you're talking about, Yeah. And so I thought that was really cool because it was a drunken Gordon that could easily just, when people drink and stuff, they could go into bad places. And so I thought that was a cool moment. Ram V should have more of that and less of everything else that he's doing in that book, because it's just not readable in my opinion. Like it's just kind of it's too much. But anyways, let's move on to a book that doesn't know the definition of too much, and that is Batman and Robin number 5, written by Mark Waid. And holy shit, this book, I don't know. I was making this joke because you guys can't see it, but there's this photo, an anime photo is all I'm going to say, that Clay has posted in the background of this program that we're using. And I said that, I was like, Mark Waid must have just learned what anime is. And he's starting to include it in his books. Because this book has had the most anime thing I've ever seen since James Tynion's and Scott Snyder's Justice League book with Superman.
Yeah.
Doing a powerful punch with his family, which is another superhero, another anime thing. I'm not gonna lie, Clay, I didn't read this book. I just skimmed it because I'm already over Batman and Robin. Like, I don't care. We know Batman is currently a demon, or he's possessed by what's his name? Nezra? Niza. And this was just gonna be a big Robin fights Batman book, right? Like, we knew that that's what was gonna happen. It was gonna be a demon Batman chasing down Damian doing all this other stuff, other people trying to help him. I believe the Bat family showed up at one point in this book to try to help him fight Demon Batman. And then what happens? He like dies, right? Or like,
so the whole thing was Niza is not only mentally taking over Batman, but actually physically.
yeah,
And they find out that if they exorcise Niza out of Batman, Batman's body is so broken and beaten that Batman would die.
yeah,
And Damian's like, well, it's the only way to beat Niza, so we have to do it. I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead and tell the family about Niza's possession, but I will not tell them that Batman will die because they don't need to know.
Mhm.
And so they all meet up. They lure Niza, Batman, on a rooftop. They fight him. At one point, Barbara literally stabs him in the chest near the heart. And I'm just like, are you sure we didn't tell them what's going on? Because she's already trying to just fuck Niza up.
Yeah.
And they end up Damian does the shadow clone jutsu and ends up having like 20,000 Robins fighting Niza. They disappear. They finally knock him out. And when they exercise him, he's like, okay, now put my life force into Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, are you an idiot? That's not how it works. He's like, what do you mean that's not how it works? That's my whole plan. That was the whole crux of my plan.
Yeah.
Like, you could have told me this before. They're like, oh, well, you just need to know, like, it wouldn't be enough. Like, you could even ask your family, but they're incapacitated right now. And you just see them all like laying on the freaking rooftop unconscious. He's like, okay, well, hook me up to Oracle real quick. And he literally talks to the entire freaking Earth.
Yeah.
Is like, lend me your fucking energy. Like, this is literally Goku talking to the world, fighting to freaking Kid Buu. This is absolutely insane that this happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
So there's this montage of everybody that's supposed to give up their energy, and it's like every time Batman saved them, which is a cool moment. I think that is a cool moment. But giving your life energy, look, I believe it in an anime that from day one has shown me that energy is a thing. It's energy that can be transferred. It's all this kind of stuff in an anime. I'm like, all right, I believe that. I've never seen this ever happen in a fucking comic book. Now, a lot of people are like, it's a comic book. Why are you being so... Look, it's because it's been based on for 80 years. Like, they haven't done this
you have, like, and me and Juice have definitely argued about what can happen in a comic book and not. Go back to our conversations over freaking Batman getting shot.
Yeah.
So, like, we've had the argument before, but there are lines and structure to a comic. There are lines and structure to manga and anime. Like, you can say, oh, well, this is kind of an homage that, they're just, honoring this or whatever. It doesn't make much sense here.
Yeah.
It doesn't for me. Even when dealing with something as weird and crazy as magic, like and then it goes from weird to cheesy because all of a sudden one person says we are Batman, and then for some odd reason, everybody around the world thinks the exact same thing and
Yeah.
starts yelling, "We are Batman," and they literally bring him back to life.
Well, no, Damien says you have to say, he says something extraordinary, something legendary. You are Batman. Say it. So he literally tells everybody, which makes it worse.
Yikes.
And so like everybody has to say we are Batman. This is We Are the Flash all over again. And it's
On a global scale.
yeah, on a global scale. And then, you know, we see this thing of all the energy getting put into Batman, and he like comes back to life with a perfect bat suit, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. Perfectly. He just got stabbed and was bleeding and dying and everything. And this life force energy has healed not only Batman and brought his soul back to life, but also healed his bat suit. That should be an artist error.
But how
there.
would Batman feel? Well, also, how would Batman feel if you told him, "Hey, we took a small piece of everybody's life and put it into you"?
Yeah, he'd
So
be
everybody
pissed.
is going to die a little sooner because of Batman.
Yeah.
How would Batman feel about that?
Batman has been somebody that would rather sacrifice his own life to save as many people as possible. Now he's pretty much, because he's alive, a lot of people are going to die earlier than they were. Yeah. Also, what if it's somebody that he's about to save too? Like, I was supposed to save you tomorrow, and now you're gonna fucking die. Like, what the fuck? That makes my job worse. So, like, yeah, I don't fucking understand. It's really weird. And then, of course, Damien's like, "Dad, you're alive." They hug, and then, you know, Batman and Robin going forward is kind of the thing. Don't care. I don't care. I'm not. I like World's Finest right now. That last issue of World's Finest was awesome. Do not care about Batman and Robin. I just want, like, I feel like we were promised a really good Batman and Robin story, and we still haven't got it yet. I want to, like, Joshua Williamson talked up his run like it was going to be amazing. And we got 4 issues, with the last 2 issues being super diarrhea wet farts. And like the freaking Robin series was boring as hell. Besides that one family issue.
And the thing about this whole Lazarus Planet thing, this is a quote from a friend that I have seen many times throughout Twitter already. But he says, we were talking about just like the overall stories that we're reading in DC right now. There's currently a Joshua Williams story called The Minute War on the Flash. He said, "That's okay. Lazarus Planet is confusing, and I'm not enjoying it at all."
Yeah.
Like, they wanted to make a event for Batman and Robin, and of course, the magic of DC, but it didn't go anywhere. It didn't do anything. There was literally no consequences to this story. That's the problem with all of these events. Like, they want to make this huge, giant problem that the DC Universe heroes have to deal with. But in the end, nothing happens in a result of it. They just beat it and then they're fine. Like, that's okay. Like, we want the heroes to win, but without consequences, you're acting as though it never happened.
Yeah.
Like, we should forget about this event because nothing really happened.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm kind of like tired of, these massive world events. Like, why can't we just have a small, hey, the 7 members of the Justice League, they have one person to fight, and this one person is really good. Like, if you got to make up a new villain, like, to be as powerful enough to fight all of the Justice League, do it. But it doesn't need to be a world-ending thing. Like, what if some villain came and attacked one of the Justice League members and took them out, and was like taking out one member at a time? And it comes down to the Trinity, you know? And they're like, "I'm here to take out your whole league." Like, you know, and that's a cool villain. Like, oh, fuck, who's taking him out? Like, right now, the Stranger in Justice Society of America, really cool character. Fucking taking out everybody. It's not a world-ending crisis. You know, it's just a solid story confined. Now, granted, it's in different eras, which can get kind of confusing for some people. But it's not like, I mean, we talked about it, I think it was last week, with Danger Street, right? Like, there's a lot going on in Danger Street. There's a lot of characters I don't know. And so imagine when you're trying to bring a new reader into the universe and you have Lazarus Planet that has 50 number 1s which I think that's a stupid idea too. I hate the number one thing. I wish they would just get rid of that. But collectors buy number ones. Those things aren't going to be worth shit, anybody. Like, stop buying all these number ones. Like, it just makes no sense. And yeah, I think that's really stupid. I wish everything would just be chronological series. It's so much easier to put in a trade, but got to sell the cover price, right? I don't know, man. I think it's just really dumb. And I mentioned this. We've constantly on this podcast talked about anime. Like, the comic industry needs to take the ideas from anime, right? We didn't mean it this way.
This is the wrong idea. This is the wrong idea.
This is not what we meant. We meant the way that they make their books and produce their books.
I was gonna say not the actual content, the structure.
Yes,
that's what they need to copy,
and doing it very poorly. It's just so weird. I wonder if Mark Waid has kids or something, or grandkids maybe, I don't know. And they're like, "Oh, look, Grandpa, this is check out this freaking show I'm watching." And like he watches it with them, and he's like, "I should put that in a comic book." Like, you know what I mean? Like, because this has
never been done in the written word.
Yeah, bar for bar, he stole the Spirit Bomb. Like, it blows my mind. And yeah, I just don't know what else. I mean, yeah, you mentioned the joke with the ninjutsu, clone jutsu, and like, yeah, I was like, why is there like 50 Robins? Like, that's one Damien's bad enough, And so I just don't know. It's so wild. I think Mark Waid has written some really cool stuff. I think Finest is the best stuff he's wrote, but yeah, Robins and Batman versus Robin. We even talked about Batman versus Robin not even needing to be necessary. Like, they did the whole Shadow War to try to build up to that book, which that was dumb too. Did Ra's ever come back to being alive, or is he still dead?
I think he's still dead.
Yeah, I mean, we skipped all of Lazarus Planet, so he could be alive. We're just not paying attention. Because he was going to be a good guy, or he was going to turn himself in or whatever. And then his grandma or mom showed up and she killed him. And like, I don't know, man. It's just too much. I'm hoping Tom Taylor has a way better Ra's al Ghul story next month when he drops that. But for the most part, yeah, not a great week of comics, in my opinion. So hopefully next week will be better. I don't know what we're getting next week. Next week we finally get to talk about Batman.
Yeah, next week. Let's see here. Looking at it now.
Have I even read the next issue?
We have. Oh shoot! What is today? Today is. So it'd be the 7th of next week.
I have read the next issue.
We have Batman 133, and that is it. Unless, of course, we want to pick up the Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing.
No, wait, and Deadly Joker? No, it's Deadly Duos and the other one? No, thank you. So I guess we'll be talking about 130. I've read 130. More of the same. So
133, right? Is it 130 or 133?
I have read 130 technically. So
also, want to double check this really quick. I'm going to skim it. The Static Shadows of Dakota. I am pretty sure we have seen teases of this writer also doing like a future Batman Beyond static book, right?
Oh, really? I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
I think so. I'll do some research. I think this is more of just what he was writing before, just like a sequel series. Kind of like how we were talking about, one thing that we do enjoy is the miniseries that just go on to another miniseries, take a little break or whatever. Static has been doing that.
Okay.
But I am pretty sure he has teased, like in some art pieces, that he wants to do like a future Static book, which would have Batman Beyond in it. So
yeah, when Static's older or whatever.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I do dig Batman Beyond, so we'll see. I haven't even checked out the art for the Ra's book to see if it looks legit.
Oh, cool. It's Ivan Reyes, I believe, so it should be good.
Yeah, it looks pretty solid. I haven't got to read that yet, but we'll read it in 3 weeks. Well, we'll talk about it in 3 weeks. But that's going to be it for the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Clay, you got anything going on this week, man?
So the day we are recording this, of course, this is what some people would call Star Wars Wednesdays. The Mandalorian season 3 is out, as well as episode 10 or 11. Oh no, sorry. I actually don't know the number of the episode of the Bad Batch, but we are going to be recording later tonight over at Star Wars Alliance and the Geekverse YouTube channel. So either go check the VOD of that later on, or you can always check out the podcast, Star Wars Alliance, to listen to what we thought about the Mandalorian season 3 premiere.
Nice. I have just been streaming on Tuesdays and Fridays, although I've been house sitting for the last couple of weeks. But I am home and everything is good now. And I think today, if you're following the Shorts channel, that is where I stream. I might start making shorts, calling myself out because I feel like I'm taking too long to drop this new channel. So I'm gonna make probably a video every day, just be like, oh, day 200 and something since Juice hasn't made his new fucking channel. So that might be something to look out for. I may do that later today. But that is going to be it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome.